Hey, in this video, I want to share 5 reasons why I decided to build in public. Now, if you don't know what I'm doing right now, the two things that I'm really working on consciously at this point to start a whole different line of business is one is a podcast and second is writing a book. And I decided to put these two things out to the world early in 2024. And I started to work on how to go about doing the marketing for these two things. And one of the first things that I wanted to do with building this marketing plan is to start building an email list, right? So that's the first thing we do. So I was looking at how I should go about doing this. So one of the first things that I went to is Product Hunt. And I looked for what I should be doing in order to launch my podcast on Product Hunt. And one of the biggest things I learned from the marketing section, there's a section, complete section, and full guide on how you should launch on Product Hunt. And I really loved how they outlined all of that. But the key takeaway there was the fact that they recommend that you build in public. And I said, hey, if that's the case, I'm going to do it. So the 5 reasons why I decided to build in public are, number one, I wanted to build an audience. Like I said, I wanted to have an email list. The only way I can go about having an email list and using that email list to actually propel my launch is to add value, and hopefully these videos are adding value to you. So that's the first thing. I want to build an audience. So if you like this video, I'm hoping at some point you will look at some other videos that I put out and hopefully consume other pieces of content, and at some point consider sharing your email address, right? So that's the first thing, building an audience. Second thing is to create content. One of the most powerful ways of creating content is by sharing what you do. I mean, one could think about doing vlogging, but the other way of doing it is to share what you do as you do it, right? For example, right now I'm recording this after a mastermind call that I just had. And in that mastermind call, I just shared about my situation where I feel like I'm juggling a little too many balls. So I talked about it, and I want to be able to share these updates with the world, so you understand exactly what I'm doing, and hopefully in every single video you'll be able to learn something that I have learned or something from the collective learnings that I've had. So that's number two, to create content that's meaningful. It's not creating content for the sake of content, but I think creating content that can make a difference to my audience. Number three is to document my answers. There's so many things I'm figuring out. Like I said, I talked about the discovery of building in public from looking at Product Hunt guide. So like that, there's so many things I'm discovering as I'm going through this journey of starting a whole new line of business for my larger business, right? So that's number three, so to document my answers, because oftentimes all the documentation right now happens in literally my notes in my iPhone and Mac. So I want to be able to share that so that not just you, sometimes even me, I can look back at these videos and actually reflect. Sometimes sharing helps us process these things better. So that's the third thing why I decided to build in public. And number four is to document my journeys so that others can learn from this journey, because I think starting something from scratch is something that we all kind of stay away from because it's hard. It's a dreadful journey if you think about it. But I want to be able to document it so you or somebody else, my son tomorrow, maybe if he decides to start something, you'll be able to actually learn something from this journey. I'm going to be sharing things that I am really scared of, just as a way to document it. So hopefully documenting the journey will be helpful for me and anybody else. And finally, the fifth reason why I think building in public is going to be useful for me and for anybody else who's watching is going to be about the angle of contributing or helping. Because one of the things I've learned from my experience building my other part of the business is I learn from others' failures and successes. So a couple of areas where I really, really am thankful for in building my business are one is the masterminds. Masterminds are an amazing place. I really learn a ton of things by actually sharing my updates. And when people ask me questions, it really helps me think and process things differently from what I usually would. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is there's a community I joined last year called Trends VC Pro. Again, amazing community, and they have this idea of stand-ups. So we do this even when I was not a part of that community. I did a stand-up every morning, just me and my computer for about 5-10 minutes, just writing about things, how things went yesterday, and what my plans are for today, and then moving some pieces of cards on my project management software, right? So that's what I used to do. But then inside this community, there is a process that they use to actually post these things in public. in public within the constraints of the community. So I really started to love it. And I think that's a great way to help others and contribute, because I think when you share your updates, others learn from those updates. So every day, I hope to be sharing my stand up notes, quote unquote, with you. So you are able to learn something that day. Not every video is going to be long, it's going to be pretty short sometimes. But I think the key goal here is to help and contribute something, even if it's just a few seconds worth of data. I think that contribution is something that can go a long way. So I think these are the five different reasons why I decided to build in public. First is to build an audience. The second is to create content. Third is to document my answers. Fourth is to document my journey, because journey is pretty crazy, I would say. And number five is to help and contribute. So I hope that this is going to be consistent, and there are more reasons I would find hopefully in the days to come as to why I should continue